You're listening to the Roofing Success Podcast, a show created to inspire roofing contractors to achieve optimal success in their roofing businesses. I'm the host, Jim Moline, the co-author of the book, Internet Marketing for Roofing Contractors, How to Triple Your Sales and Turn Your Roofing Website into an Online Lead Generation Machine. I'm also the co-founder of Roofer Marketers, the digital marketing agency for the roofing industry. On each episode, I'll be sitting down with industry leaders to talk about their processes, the lessons they've learned, and how to find success in roofing. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Roofing Success Podcast. As always, please follow, share, subscribe, comment. As we continue to put out this content, that helps our content reach more and more people. So today, we're going to bust some myths. We're going to be myth busters, Daniel. Myth busters.
Yes.
We're going to be busting commercial roofing myths today with Daniel Lakstins and we're so excited to have him on here. Roofing Business Builder is his coaching program. Daniel, for the audience, please introduce yourself. Kind of tell us a little bit about your background and what you guys do over there.
Yeah, Daniel Lakstins, and been in the roofing industry for over 32 years. And of course, let me ask you this too, Jim. How did you get in the roofing industry?
By chance.
By chance.
Chance.
So
right.
I always say the roofing industry finds you.
Yeah, that's right.
For myself, my grandfather was a roofer, trained my brother. I took over the roofing industry, our family roofing business, within about 4 years. And then when things got, and there's the economy kind of went to shit back in 2003. So we sold our business and then opened up a repping agency in Texas where we represented, one main manufacturer. And then within 3 years, we're doing close to 2 million in sales. So then we had to form our own LLC, and then we were able to bring on other manufacturers. So I would design commercial roofing systems for municipalities, for Air Force bases, and I'd put those things out to bid. And then I train other roofers. So over the past 18 years, I've been training roofers, commercial roofers, and sometimes residential roofers transitioning into commercial. I would teach them everything I knew. And throughout that period of time, though, there's a lot of things that you see. There's a lot of things that you see that work, and there's a lot of things that you see that don't work. And so I'd always help people. I've always had a passion to help people. I've always been an entrepreneur. Back in the day, I used to was a comedian. I went to radiology school. Love science. I'm still into science. My wife and I own a couple of businesses. So we also own a couple of businesses in the hemp industry, helping the hemp farmers, because there's who's going to buy the products. But my passion, for the roofing is still there. And so we decided after we got bought out of all of our contracts, and that was an amazing thing, so I got another exit. We exited my roofing business. And so now we exited the repping agency. And so, but with all this knowledge, I truly wanted to help my brothers and sisters out there that are roofers. And so we designed a program that would help them to truly navigate and speed up the knowledge, because, some of the mistakes you make take 3 to 5 years to learn. And sometimes it costs you tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in mistakes that you can make. And to speed up that curve is something I felt is my way of giving back. And that's where we are at with Roofing Business Builder. We have a program where they spend hours of learning. And then you can use this also for your employees too, where we give them up to 4 logins per company. So you can log in with your employees, can do training courses and learn some of the tricks, not tricks. Well, yeah, I guess you can call them tricks, but there's a lot of misunderstandings out there. There's a lot of myths when it comes to commercial roofing.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's one of them. One of the biggest myths that we hear all the time is that it's a lot harder than residential,
Yes, that is a myth. That's not
right?
true at all.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, so when it comes to residential, I mean, first of all, you have to talk to that one residential person to get that sell. It's a very low amount of money compared to the same amount of time that you spend with that one person in the commercial industry. You can literally um, make. You have to spend maybe uh, time talking to 30 different households to just equal the amount of gross receipts you'd receive from that one customer. So that's the first thing. But it's even easier when it comes to sniping out. I say don't bring a shotgun to your marketing, bring a sniper. So in commercial, you want to snipe out specific type of clients that resonate with you too. If you're resonating with that person that owns a building, or let's say 100 buildings, you want someone that owns a lot of buildings. So if you can snipe out that perfect person that you resonate with, or they resonate with you, then you can create a relationship that is long lasting. So if you're doing the residential, you're one and done, you're not going to see that roof for another 15 years. In my roofing industry, my roofing business back in Indiana, literally, I did start re-roofing other homes that we
Yeah.
had already previously roofed, but that's a long cycle. When it comes to commercial, you can develop 1, 2, 5 relationships, and next thing you know, you're making $10 million a year, and or gross. You're bringing in $10 million a year, and it's great because you still have that relationship. You're working
Yeah.
with that person every year, and so that's a lot easier than trying to sell another residential roof.
Yeah. So there's it's more relationship based, and you're what you're saying, and you're going to get more business from that specific building owner, property
Well,
management company, or whatever you're working with. But
they have
one
a
of the
budget
things,
though. They actually have
yeah,
a budget, so they
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 do have a
actually
budget.
they have
They
money.
they
All you
understand capital expenditures, right?
So
They
you get up on the
understand
roof,
that. Yeah.
you do your evaluation, then you walk down with pictures of their roof, pictures of how you're going to redo it, and then you sit down, you go through it, and they're like, "Okay, here's a check." It's a lot easier.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
much better.
So let's talk a little bit about, you had mentioned types of clients, right? I don't know if there's a lot of thought put into that a lot of times by contractors. Types of clients. So you don't, commercial roofing is very broad in itself,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah,
Like that's a very broad thing to say, commercial roofing,
yeah.
right? And so we've had conversations before, and it's like you were talking about, like, there's there's different niches almost within commercial roofing, right? And
Multiple
so
niches.
yeah, like,
The
and
your first two niches is new construction or re-roof.
okay,
That's the top of the pyramid. They split.
yeah,
So then from there you have bid work, which I teach everyone, stay away from the bid work. It's not yours if you're crossing over. Just don't worry. You can get to the bid work maybe down the road, but you have to first get your feet wet, learn, scrape your knees. So,
yeah,
but then there's so now over here though is negotiated work. Negotiated work is where the money is. That's where the relationships are from them. But from there, in negotiated work, you have hotels, you have um, self storage units. You have look at what kind of trade shows would you want to go to? You know, um, I'm an inventor too, so I invented a stroller, which I haven't done this one yet because, but I got a little tube extender. It's called the last squirt. It gets the last squirt out of the bottle. So, but
okay,
I have a patent on that. But I also have a stroller wheels that will go across the sand on a beach. So if you're taking your kids, it just but the thing is, my wife says, "Do you really want to go to children's, baby shows?" I'm like, hell no. No, I don't want to do that. So she said, let's not do the engineering on that one yet. So, but I got a list of things I want to do.
yeah,
But in the roofing industry, think about the kind of trade shows. You don't want to do restaurants. If don't do restaurants, that's if you're getting into this, that's a really difficult one. Plus, there's a lot of people that do restaurant trade shows, but try to find a trade show that's undersaturated. So then you have a niche. Say, but anyways, from this building, you can niche it down even more based upon
Yeah.
certain trade shows. So that's just one idea for the listeners.
Yeah. And that's interesting to think about, right? And it's you don't go in trying to do everything.
No, oh no,
It's not.
that's what you're spending all. That's the shotgun approach.
That's right.
You're peppering everything,
Yeah,
and you're not dropping a deer. So you
that's
want to get a
right.
sniper rifle and just go after one small, and we call them micro niches. So you niche, and then niche down, and then find where no one else is, because reduce your competition. But once you're in an undersaturated market. Well, you're also not spending a lot of money on that marketing because
Yeah.
you're specific in a specific area, and you're getting a lot more benefit from those marketing dollars.
Yeah. And I think that you would be able to, from a marketing perspective, position yourself as an authority in that specific niche a lot
That's
easier.
it. Join everyone. When you look at the trade show, then say if you're doing, say, self-storage, there are self-storage organizations, or non-for-profit, certain, what do we call those things?
Industry associations, right?
Associations, yeah. And you
Industry
want to get involved in that, and eventually, I mean, there are roofers that sit on boards of associations, and that is their roofer. That's their go-to
Yeah.
whenever, yeah, if they're like, well, what do we do about this? Well, we got to talk to
Yep.
Jim, Jim's
Yeah.
roofing.
Yep. And so that kind of, to me, that there's another myth that always comes up, and that's that manufacturers won't authorize contractors.
Well, in the sense that, this is a mythbuster, but mythbusters here, right?
That's
So
right.
in a
That's
sense,
right.
this is actually partially true. So manufacturers will not authorize a contractor, and a lot of guys that are crossing over, they're trying to get licensed. And why would the manufacturer license you? They already have a network of contractors that are bringing them money. So it does depend on your region. But the truth is the reason why is because if you're, because I came from the manufacturing side too, is if I already have maybe three guys that are in one city, and they're bringing me $1 to $2 million, in purchasing, and then these other three guys see one of my specifications, they go, I want that, I want to try to bid on that. Hey, I have the right to bid it. And so they'll try to bid that job. Well, if these three guys, if I licensed all three of these guys and spent time educating, training their salesmen, bringing out the tech reps to train their roofing crews, it costs about $6,000 sometimes to train a roofing contractor if you license them. And the thing is at the end of the year, what happens is all these guys are going after, these three guys are going after the same work that these three guys are going after. So at the end of the year, the manufacturer made nothing. The rep made nothing. He spent the whole year training these other three companies, and there's absolutely no extra money because the roofers don't know that when they come in, they're just going after the same work that everyone else is going after. So no one makes any extra money. And even what happens is the three guys that were licensed, so you got three guys here you license, there's 3 million here. Now everyone did 500,000 each. So that means that these guys all lost. Your guys that were already, part of your organization, they lost half their income. And then they jump ship. They drop this manufacturer and they look for another manufacturer that's going to work with them. So these are the problems that from the manufacturing perspective. So having that in mind, then if you're a roofer that's crossing over into commercial, how can you make yourself look attractive to that person? And so that's the whole thing. So if you want to get licensed with a manufacturer, bring value to them. Usually it takes 5 years of being in the roofing industry to even qualify to work for one of the big five roofing manufacturers. Well, the big five actually offer a really good warranty to the customers. And so a lot of customers that are savvy, that own millions of dollars worth of buildings, they know what kind of warranty they want. But until you get your feet wet, until you learn, you'll have to buy commodity products from a distributor and learn, make your mistakes there, because you don't want to make
Yep.
your mistakes with a big manufacturer and then lose that.
Yeah. And that's interesting because that's on that bid work side, right? And a lot of this is spec'd out. So this product is spec'd out for this work. So they're just going and bidding, having the contractors that are approved or licensed with that specific product bidding on that work.
And those people are also marketing. So when they're
That
out
there,
there trying to find their own clients, they're marketing for that manufacturer. They're
yeah,
so, and then, but yeah, when it comes to spec work, you don't want to do spec work, because do you really want to be the roofer that makes the least amount of money on that job, or chooses
yeah,
to make the least amount of money? I mean, I don't want to be that roofer. I want to
that's
make
right.
more money.
That's right. So what advice would you have for, to get authorized, to get licensed with these manufacturers when you're
Just
not
like what,
that
what we're
guy?
talking about. Once you niche down and what you're passionate about, you also, um, even your roofers, different companies have different core competencies, different skill sets.
Mhm.
You may, if you only have one good welder and like 10 guys that are great at installing, you don't want to do restaurants. But if you have 6 guys that are just great at welding, and two guys that are using the screw guns and stuff like that, well, that's great. You can do, but if you don't, anyways, you have to analyze what skill sets your company has, then find out what your passion is. If you're passionate about something, it's like, I'm passionate about horses, so I do all of the racing facilities in Kentucky and over here, but I mean, you can be the Derby, the horse racing roofer, where your reputation is known everywhere. Well, if you have something like that, or if you are the self-storage roofer, if everyone knows you to be that self-storage roofer, and then you call up a manufacturer and say, hey, I want to bring you some of my business, but I've done all my research on your manufacturing. I've looked at the way you guys go to market, and I resonate with that. You guys are like me and my company, and so I think that we're going to be a good match. And I'm bringing you I'm bringing you a bunch of customers that I've developed, and then you're going to be very valuable to a manufacturer. They're going to like, hey, come here,
Yeah,
But
that's interesting because what we were talking about earlier is the rep doesn't want to even bring you on and train you because you're competing against the other contractors in the area. You're not bringing value
no,
to that scenario.
that's
But
it.
if you become the self-storage roofer
Yeah.
and you go in, now you're bringing value to that relationship. That makes a lot of
And
sense.
and what happens is that rep that licenses you, when the other 3 guys go, well, hey, what are you licensing those guys? They're going to come after my work. And say, nope, they're in their own niche. And that's
Yeah.
what I would always do. And you want a diversified niche. And then what happens is, then when you do have bids, then after about a year or two, after you're doing your own thing, then you'll get invited to bid on those extra projects that I created. You didn't create that work. I created that work. So you're stealing from all of my guys that are actually supporting my organization. That's the way a manufacturer looks at it.
Yeah, and that's kind of another thing is a myth out there that like the manufacturers won't bring you any leads, right? That they don't bring deals to you. You're kind of out there doing all the legwork.
Actually, that is true. The manufacturer does not bring you leads. Well, think about this though. So this is MythBusters. This one is actually partially true too, because manufacturers, I mean, say if in one given state you have 60 licensed contractors,
Oh,
60,
yep.
right? So say that a manufacturer would love to give maybe 20 leads to each of those 60 customers. Well, 60 times 20, what is that? Oh, it's 1,200 leads. Do you think a manufacturer really can come up with those kind of leads? So manufacturers provide what we call a perception of leads, because in reality, the roofer has to market and advertise. And there's a value though to being licensed with a specific product because of the reputation of the manufacturer. So, but when it comes to leads, it's a perception that we think. And here's the thing: is a lot of times in distributors, you have to be careful because distributors are great, but sometimes you may have a sales rep within the distribution, and they find out that you have a call, or it's like, oh yeah, I need a quote on this project. Well, where's the project? And next you have three guys show up to that your customer knocking on the door saying, hey, I'd like to give you a bid. So you got to watch out for things like that, because the reason why some reps can give away leads is because they're eavesdropping on their roofers. They have maybe 100 roofers, and you got like six of them that tell you about. Next thing you know, it's like, wow, my rep gives me all kinds of leads. Well, those aren't his leads. They're one of the other roofers. So watch out for that. I'm not saying that that's big, but it does happen in the industry, and I want to protect everyone from. So I never usually give an address. I'll give a zip code.
I was just that was confusing to me because I was thinking, these are spec'd out for the manufacturer, and then there's like 3 or 4, people licensed in that area to do that. That would, to me, that sounded like leads, right? That you're kind of there, but it's really
it's a spec. A spec's not a lead, in my opinion.
That's right. So it's that the contractors in the area are generating that business, and then the manufacturer is just spec'd on that job, so that you have to be licensed with that manufacturer to bid that job, kind of thing.
Exactly. And so like there's several grocery store chains that read specific magazines that are about how to grow your grocery store chain, right?
Yep.
And so, that's a good place to market too. It's expensive, but it's a good place to market. But the thing is say if a manufacturer's dropping an advertisement in there and then gets leads from that, then you could be on the list to get one of those leads. Especially, as a manufacturer's, we know the skill set that when I had over 120 roofers that I had licensed over a period of 18 years and helped them to grow, but some were good at restaurants. Very few, but I had a couple of guys. If a restaurant owner called me and says, "Hey, I want to get then I would I'd say, "Hey, there's only 2 guys I would trust. These 2." And but each roofing company has different skill sets, and that's how some people can't do new construction. They'll lose money because the other trades will poke holes in your roof. But if you have a strong personality and you're at the pre-construction meeting and you go around to each of those trades, say, look, if one of your guys pokes a hole, you talk to me, because otherwise I'm going to charge you. So you have to learn certain things to protect your company, and then you can get good at that other thing. But keep it simple when you're in the beginning. Keep everything simple and go after your own a clientele. But trade shows is one of the best ways. It's exciting, it's stimulating, and you can also go to the trade show that you're most passionate about.
Yeah, that's interesting. And that's probably, that's another, I mean, saying that makes kind of, there's this other, it's kind of a myth, but it's so difficult to find the decision maker.
Yes.
And so that's an interesting thing about what you're saying there, and going to these trade shows and like being involved in their industry is a unique perspective to me. I don't,
Yeah. Well, yeah. Cause, is it difficult to find the decision maker? No, not, especially not now with technology that we have, because we have, there's a couple of tools that you can use, Reonomy and also Seamless AI. You've heard about both of those.
Yep.
So and like Seamless AI, those guys used to work for Google. And so, I mean, a lot of the software out there, you can actually know what college that the guy or girl that owns 150 buildings, you can use some of the software and it'll tell you what college they graduated from. You show up to their office and you hand them a mug with their college. I wouldn't do that. That's a little too cheesy, but the thing is to have that knowledge. Yeah. One of these sites even said what the name of their dog was. It was Maddie. No, they didn't. That was teasing. Adam and I both have a dog. Both of our dogs are named Maddie. That's hilarious.
Oh, really? All right.
Yeah. So, but the more information you have, but don't be slimy. You want to you want to it's just like developing a relationship with a girl, or if she's
Yeah.
like, with the opposite sex. So um you want to get in there and then just develop that relationship, and maybe visit a few times, take him out for a beer, or drinks, or dinner, but and then and tell him, I want you to be my, I want to be your roofer. And do your homework on that person first. And when you do your homework, then if you resonate with that person, then you're going to have a relationship that's going to last for millions of dollars. I was going to say a lifetime, but millions of
Yeah. Millions of dollars.
dollars.
What about like, in like LLCs or, things like that, when all the properties are held in, in that is, sometimes that, the owner's information is a little bit more hidden.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm telling you, even door knocking is not that difficult. When you can walk into a industrial park area, say, a lot of hell storm chasers do this. You just walk in, knock on the door, go in, talk to the office girl, and you say, "Oh, so who owns this place?" And she'll, "Oh, it's Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones is a really nice guy. So, how many kids does he have?" "Oh, he has 3 kids." Now, I'm, but I'm saying you can get a lot of information just by talking to the person at the
Just
front
by
desk.
talking to people. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're in a smaller town, um, shoot, I used to just walk into the superintendent's office in schools. I just walk right in and, "Hey, how's it going?" He's in overalls and, "Hey, come on in, have a seat there." "Yeah, it's leaking all over here. See this little bucket I got right here beside my desk." He said, "Well, hey, I'd love to be your roofer, but maybe I can just get up there, take a peek." Remember, do not try to sell the job on the spot. Just
Yeah.
get permission to get on that roof, and then gather your information, put together a beautiful booklet of tons of information of how you're going to change their world, and then sit down and then ask for that check. So, but a lot of people do that a little bit ass backwards, try to sell themselves first, but just get permission to get on that roof and then develop the relationship.
So let's talk about a little bit about this booklet. There are always, when you're speaking of, when you define your perfect customer, you always want to find their fears and their desires and things like that. When you're bringing in developing like some kind of literature about what you do and what you can bring, what kind of value you can bring to that building owner, that I heard you say booklet, it's through the booklet or through whatever kind of presentations in your language,
so I'm saying
everything
booklet,
you're doing. Yeah, booklet, whatever,
but it's actually
marketing
proposal.
proposals.
What I'm
Right?
talking about is a proposal,
Yeah,
but it should be between 15 and 32 pages. Your
yeah,
proposal. Yeah, it's like when you're doing residential, well, I'll just fax this over to you, and a lot of people get in the commercial roofing, they're like, "I'll just fax over my bid."
yeah,
No, you don't. If you're going to be charging 300,000 plus or $1 million for a roof, you got to have a booklet, a presentation, something that's stacked full of information.
yeah,
No, because I had a customer that owned several hotels. And he called me up and says, "I don't want that roofer that you sent me." I go, "Why not?" He goes, "Because he just gave me a
yeah.
one page proposal." And he says, if I'm going to spend this much money, I want a Mercedes Benz of a
That's
proposal.
right.
You got to give them.
A $300,000 proposal.
That's it. Show them,
Not-
something that's worth $300,000.
So let's walk through some of this a little bit. So in this booklet, right, in this proposal, in the information that you're putting out there to these building owners and your perfect customer in that market, in your niche, whatever you're doing there, what are some of the top things that you want to make sure that you're hitting on?
Well, it's just the same thing that you'd tell the customer that you want to do for them. So the first thing, and you can get some. Anyways, let's just talk about the booklet though. But
Yeah.
basically, the front page is going to have a picture of their roof on there, their building.
Okay.
And and then you say that this is a proposal for them, and then you open it up, and you're going to take as many pictures of every problem you have on there, and take your little tack claw and stick it, or a knife. You'll see people use it, or a pen. I'll use a pen sometimes, and find every little lift or where there's trouble areas. This is what your curb looks like. and then drop in a picture of a curb that you've done. Say, this is what it's going to look like. And so you go through all the problems on that roof. So it should be like 15 pages of all these terrible things. Look at your drainage is messed up. Look at you have debris on the roof. You know, we're gonna have to redo your coping cap. Here's your coping cap here. It's all disgusting. It's leaking. The caulk is all cracked and now it's coming through. So we're gonna redo all this. We're gonna encapsulate your walls. And so you put together a huge, I mean, when you sit down with them, you're going to read this book with them together and they're going to fall in love with it. It's going to be like a childhood story about how you're changing their world into something amazing. And then at the end of it, you're going to have ask for the endorsement. Remember, terminology is everything too. You don't want to say, can I get your signature? You know, or that here's a contract. You don't say contract. You say, this is an agreement, you know, so terminology, you want to learn those things too, but then ask for the check, you know, ask for that 50% down. If they don't go for that, you can say, well, you want to write the check to the manufacturer. You can, they can. Go. So if they don't trust you,
if they,
but you say, I need the money to pay for the materials. Can you just write the check to the manufacturer? The manufacturer will send you back the extra that you need to run the job. So you get the manufacturers will take care of you on that.
That's awesome. What do you think some of those, you know, you're showing them the problem areas and how you're going to solve it. What are some other things that, I know like building owners from a residential property to a commercial property, there's a different mindset, right? There is a building owner is an investor. They're looking at the work that you're doing as how it can make or save them money, right? It's either going to make me money or it's going to save me money, which makes me money in commercial properties, right? When you're leasing out properties, there's if it's a lower maintenance cost for the year, they're lowering their cost for the year. Their profits go up on that property because that as they're leasing the property out. So what other kind of things do you hit on that you found over the years that are like those hot buttons with those building owners? Not, maybe beyond the, hey, this is where it's leaking and this is how we're going to solve it. Is there anything that you found along the way that is kind of like?
There's so many things. Yeah. I mean, I don't suggest that when you're getting involved in the beginning, but some of us may have a passion for environmentally friendly or energy efficient. You can get into adding solar panels, so you can find a niche in that area if you're passionate about it. But there's it's a learning curve in that. But yeah, there's several ways that you can offer value to that customer. But we really want to find out what they're passionate about. So, but if they're quote unquote tree hugger or energy efficient, but you can use different techniques in that aspect too. Most roofing is white nowadays because it reflects, and you want a reflective roof. If you look at a school bus, they painted all the roofs white. Well, why do they do that? Because those kids were sweating on the way home from school, not because of school. No, but anyways, but that's reflectivity. So you can do a lot of your homework on this. I always say that if you're crossing over into commercial, and once you choose that manufacturer, you need to be reading that spec book 2 hours a night, or doing other programs like our programs, right? Study, educate yourself until you are the expert. And then when you go in there, find out what their passion is, ask them questions. And it's hard for us as salesmen because we're talkers, but we need them to tell us the information. So that way, when we do put that presentation together, that it's going to be something that wows them,
that resonates with them. Yeah, that resonates with them. And it's all, I guess, it's in the questions that you ask them as you're building that relationship. You get to learn a lot of these things.
Yeah.
Right.
And remember, you want this relationship for a lifetime. So it's like you might as well ask as many questions about them and get to know them. And what makes it easier in the commercial is that a lot of us are just scatterbrained. I'm just, my mind's all over the place, but can you not learn about 3 people over the next 3 months? just
Yeah.
three. Just focus on those three people. That's a lot easier than trying to talk to 30 people, you
And
know.
we get overwhelmed when we do that. I think
Yeah,
that leads to procrastination a lot of times,
it is. That's it. You're right.
right?
Yeah.
Like we build these tasks up. Hey, I'm going to open a commercial division of my company. So now I have to go after all of these all of these people. So now I have to find thousands of building owners and it gets overwhelming. I like that idea
Yeah.
of think about it, get down into a niche and find 3 building owners.
Yeah, I mean, start
Just
with
start
one,
to make
but three,
yeah,
three,
3
three's
or
not hard,
yeah,
you know.
1, 3, however it is, start small and just start to move in that direction. And as you start to move in that direction, momentum can build, and pretty soon you have a whole commercial division or a whole company that's doing these very specific commercial roofs. Um,
Don't
Another
don't use your residential. Go ahead. I'll let you go ahead because I know that's the next subject we're going to.
no, go for it, go for it. What
No, no.
what
Go ahead. Ask the myth busting question.
Yeah. So like, the other myth is that, and this is, I mean, it's in contracting in general, but specifically with commercial roofing, is it cheaper that using subs is cheaper than actually having in-house employees to do the work?
Not at all. That's totally a myth. That as a matter of fact, having your own crews is much cheaper. So say the numbers I have are maybe a couple years old here, but usually, a sub crew is going to cost you between 80, depending on the region you're in, between 80,000 or 80 cents a square foot to upwards of $1.50 a square foot, depending on the complication of the job and things like that. That sub crew may or may not have workman's comp, may or may not have. Well, they better have insurance. You better get
Yeah.
their and don't just get their insurance. You need to request to be an insurance certificate holder, and if that person drops their insurance, say they had their insurance when they're working for you, and then they drop it, the insurance company will call you and say they dropped it, or they'll send you a letter. So you definitely want to make sure they have insurance, because if you're doing a $30,000 job and you lose 10% of your money, that's bad. That's $3,000. But if you're
That's
doing
right.
a $300,000 job and you lose 10% of your money, and it's that roof, like your sub crew, you need to ding their insurance. Something bad happens, you need to ding. You gotta protect yourself. Your insurance is basically like having a lawyer on retainer, because all insurance companies have lawyers that are going to fight in your behalf. So, but anyways, but yeah, your sub crew, um, that's how much they're going to cost you. If you have your own employees, it usually costs about 40 to 50 cents a square foot. And then when you add your insurance and everything, you might be up to 60 to 70 cents. So it's much cheaper. But here's the problem though. Do you have enough work to keep your employees busy? So in the beginning, you have to use subs, and then that's where there's a transition where you're going to slowly build your own crew, and do not use your residential guys, because that's your machine that's making you money right now, and you need that machine to run. It's like, well, I can do it. No, they can't. I mean, just keep the machine over here working, and then you hire this. Now, if you love one of these employees and they're sincerely wanting to cross over, then by all means, you can do that. But it doesn't go well, because once you start doing something over here, there's a learning curve. It takes time. Um, but there's a few mistakes that you have to watch out for as you're doing this transition. And you can find a sub crew that will train your new team that you're building, but it's better to hire roofers, installers that are specifically good at that specific product. And they'll lie sometimes, like, oh no, I'm licensed with that, I install it all the time. No, you don't. Do your homework, double check everything,
Yeah.
because if you want a successful business, just be an ace. Ask the hard questions to ask, and be firm, but be I mean, you don't have to be mean, but just be firm and say, hey, look, I'm just trying to protect myself, and protect the company,
That's
and
right.
and help you to grow into the best version of yourself that you could ever become.
For sure. One of the things that I've seen with some residential contractors that go into commercial and kind of get over their heads sometimes is in relation to cash flow management. And that kind of reminded me of that when you were talking about having employees and not enough work sometimes, like it versus subs when you're kind of starting out. What is a good way in the beginning to deal with that cash flow management? When you're going and doing a $300,000 roof all of a sudden, and you're not going to get paid on that for,
3 months, maybe.
yeah, some time, right? And there's
really, to be honest with you, depending on the product that you're using, you can actually say, if you do have two types of products and one's quicker than the other, then sometimes you can convert one of your jobs into something that you can get done in 2 weeks, where it'd take you 6 weeks to do it with the other product. Be careful about that, because you don't want to be dishonest, because that is kind of something that you're doing for yourself, not for the customer. So, but you can, if you, cash flow can be a difficult thing. And that's the reason why you definitely want to, when you get your down payment, usually it's a third. Your materials are going to cost a third of the job. So if you're asking for half up front, and then you said, like I said, a lot of customers, if they trust you, once you have that relationship, they're going to drop you half. They'll drop you half. But there's a lot of bad apples out there that actually took that money and ran off. So, but they're going to do their homework on you. So they're going to go to your website. They're going to go to your social media. So definitely don't want to have crazy ass pictures of you doing crazy things on your personal social media, but they should be doing their homework on you if they're going to drop you 50%.
That's right.
Of $300,000. So I'll drop you 150,000, but with that extra money. So if you got a third, then if you're getting half, then that's your money that you're going to float some of that, the money on that. Or you could do draws. So if you just tell them, hey, look, this is a big job. I don't necessarily have $150,000 in the bank. So if can we do a drawing system, and then you could do 4 or 5 draws, and you put together the drawing schedule, and they'll transfer the money to you that way. So, but you can be transparent. If you tell them that, hey, truthfully, if you don't trust me, just you can send that money to the manufacturer that you love, that I love, and then and again, then you call the manufacturer, talk to the accounts receivables, say, hey, look, I still need money to float this job, but I wanted them to trust me, and I wanted you to be paid. Because a lot of these guys that you get into commercial roofing, and then you get through and you're just like suffering, and you're like, oh, I don't have cash flow. And then next, you get that final check, and you don't pay the manufacturer. You pay all your guys, then you go out and jump on the yacht for a week or two, and then come back, and then or go on vacation or something. That's bad, because if you don't pay that manufacturer, your boat's sunk. This is what the mistakes I see people make. But pay everyone off first. You don't pay your employees, you're not going to have the guys come out and install the next roof. So you got to pay your manufacturer, got to pay your employees. And then the last person you pay is yourself.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, you got to manage that money properly, because otherwise a lot of these guys, one of my buddies, one of my customers landed huge job, collected hundreds of thousands of dollars, and built a house. And then 6 months later, he's like, oh, fuck, I don't know what to do next. I'm like, buddy, I told you, do not spend that money. That money is company money. And then you want to invest in there. You may want to invest in a better office. You definitely want to hire employees. Well, what's your burn rate for having an office personnel at, 30 to 60,000 a year? What's your burn rate for all your employees? So you got to consider that, because if you're not good at doing the paperwork, you got to hire someone that's good at that. And so once you land some of this big money, don't spend it. Pretend you're the same poor roofer not poor, but you know what I'm saying? But until you get to a certain point, then you can start spending that money. But yeah.
Yeah, you got to lay that foundation first. Get the foundation laid. Make sure that you're on stable ground financially, right? And then and be able to reinvest in the company and keep building that up.
And invest in your education of your employees. Have you built training courses yet? SOPs, standard operating procedures. Because if you're going to be, I always say we want to spend less time on the roof and more time on the yacht. So,
Yeah.
so, and that's just a goal because I mean, we all want to be millionaires. So just keep that goal at the yacht in your head, because you don't have to buy a yacht. You can rent one and have friends and stuff like that. But that should be a good goal for all of us, to jump on a yacht over the weekend sometime. So how is your business going to run itself if you're not there? So that's standard operating procedures, and you need to start filming um, every task, every job, everything. Doesn't matter if you're the secretary, should have a video. So if once you lose that secretary, you hire a new one. They watch the videos. Now they know what they're doing. And then if you're on vacation and they're slacking you, because you don't want anyone to have your cell phone number. But they're slacking you, they say, watch that video, or just run your question through Slack, because I've already answered this 6 months ago with another person that I had hired. So, but there's a lot of things you got to automate your business. There's lots of things to learn, but these are just a few of the myth busters, right?
That's right. So, I mean, you've been on a lot of different sides, right? You were in, grew up, family roofing business, you ran the roofing business, you exited the roofing business, you got on the distribution side. What is the greatest insight that you could share with our audience to help them find success in their roofing business?
Find your passion. That what if you as the business owner, if you feel passion, that energy permeates every part of your business. It permeates through your customers. And so what you're passionate about, then everyone will adopt that. All your employees will feel your passion, and they'll feel like they're buying into things. You can actually donate some of your money towards something you're passionate about. If you're not as passionate about roofing, say I know this one friend and customer of mine that owns an orphanage, because he's got a roofing business but donates his roofing money to the orphanage. And so find what your passion is, because if you're passionate, you're going to jump up every day and be so excited, and everyone around you is going to feel that excitement. And then that they'll go out, and when they talk to customers, all your salesmen are excited because you're excited. But if you walk in like this, mopey, like, oh, life's happening to me, you're not. The reason why is because you're not passionate. You haven't found your passion. So I think that's the biggest thing. Find your passion, and then just share that passion with everyone, and your customers will feel it, and they'll keep coming back to you because of that.
Awesome, man. How can people find you outside of the podcast?
Roofingbusinessbuilder.com. I also do teach higher levels of law of attraction, which means that you can go to Daniel, just Google Daniel Lakstins. Lakstins is Lakstins. And I've got a year's worth of higher levels of law of attraction type videos that if you've read Think and Grow Rich, or if you've watched The Secret and it worked that first week, it's like, yay, I'm manifesting. And all of a sudden what happens? Nothing. It's something just goes away. It's like, oh, it's not working. I have all this negative thoughts about myself, or whatever. And so anyways, I help you tweak those things, and it's all free on my YouTube channel. So that's another thing. Yeah. But yeah, because the mindset's everything. If you have $1 million mindset, then you can talk to someone that's worth $35 million. So if you're crossing over into the commercial roofing industry, you have to think like a millionaire. And how do you do that? Well, law of attraction is one of the quickest, easiest way to get your mind to think like a millionaire, so I highly advise it, and read Think and Grow Rich. But yeah, so DanielLakstins.com, and you can check out we have Roofing Business Builder on Instagram. I think on Facebook, we're Cool Construction Concepts, which is the parent company of Roofing Business Builder.
Awesome. This has been another episode of the Roofing Success Podcast.
If you would like to generate more sales through your digital marketing efforts, please visit roofermarketers.com and get a copy of the book, Internet Marketing for Roofing Contractors: How to Triple Your Sales and Turn Your Roofing Website into an Online Lead Generation Machine. Also, check the training section of the website for guides on everything from running effective pay-per-click ads to how to properly set up your Google My Business listing. This has been another episode of the Roofing Success Podcast. Thanks for listening.